TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond. TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry, leave me a message.
I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do.
Hello and welcome to Bedroom Chronicles. I am Mercury's Rising and I'll be your host this evening. And the guest that's on the show today is Vernon Davis. He is a new author and Mr. Davis.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am just shy of awesome. Thank you for asking.
And thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. It's an honor, privilege, and a pleasure.
All right, all right. So I want to find out about you and your book and what gave you the ideas to write your book. So first, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are your professions on and off the stage?
Well, I'm a professional stand-up comic on stage. I'm a public speaker. I own a nonprofit for veterans called Thank You for Your Service, where we honor veterans by making presentations to them. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay, you got real quiet on me. I'm sorry. And let's see. I also own a booking agency for comedians, which is called Laughter Has No Color, where we basically book comedians of all races, creeds, colors, sexual preference. So therefore, it made us one of the top 30 booking agencies in the country because of our diversity. I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm even a great-grandfather, and an Army veteran. And my day job, I'm actually an area manager for a major car manufacturer. And so that's what I do, and hide for my grandkids as much as I possibly can.
Well, that's a long list of impressive things that you do.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. It was an honor and a privilege. I am a fourth-generation veteran. So my daughter is fifth generation, so I'm very proud of her in that respect. So we kind of call the military our family business.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So can you tell us about your book, Message in Madness?
Well, Messages in the Madness was written over 11 years, and then I sat on it for a year. And a couple of pieces I put in there, but they were essays and short stories that I wrote that I wanted to share with the world one day. And since 19 came about, and being that I'm a comedian, and you guys can find me online, Longhorn the Comedian. Can't miss me, black guy, cowboy hat. But that's just who I am. I'm surprised you didn't use that picture, but I kind of like that picture you got.
I like that picture too, the one with the white hat. I really like that one.
But so what happened was, COVID-19 came. My job sent us home to work from home, and I had some extra time. So I said, you know what? My mother had published 2 books. I'm like, I'm slacking. I'm really slacking here. So therefore, I pulled all my writings out. I sorted through about 30 different stories and decided these are the ones I'm going to publish.
Okay.
And quite frankly, when I published my goal was I didn't care if I only sold 1 copy of the book. It was the idea of the accomplishment of completing it and actually, getting it done on Amazon and publishing it. So the book is doing pretty well. It's doing way better than I anticipated.
Wow.
And it's a book that's written so that anybody can get something from it, because it's written from a real world perspective. It's written for the everyday person, so there's not a lot of $5 words in it, is written from true life experiences.
Okay. So can you tell me about one of the experience or the experience that stands out most for you out of your book?
Well, my favorite story in the book is called I've Never Seen Strength Like That. And that story was written primarily about my baby girl, my youngest daughter. She was pregnant, and unfortunately, she had about 4 months in. They put her on bed rest because she wasn't doing very well with the pregnancy.
Okay.
To fast forward a little bit, the baby was born, and she was born premature. She lived about 30 minutes, and she passed away in my hand.
Wow.
But the strength that my daughter, as a young black woman, displayed during the whole process was magnanimous. It was magnificent. It was awesome.
Wow.
Because I was not expecting her to show the strength that she did, and she didn't break down. She didn't lose it. She spoke. She carried it in a fashion that, quite frankly, I still wish I could reach that level one day. But that's my favorite story in the book because, like I said, it was a very strong position. In the book, I also talk about racism. I talk about, don't really talk about politics, but I talk about my mother, my very first strong black woman who loved me until the day she passed away, the Reverend S. Candy Williams.
Wow.
I talk about my daughters. I talk about my wife. I talk about my sons. I talk about comedy, which is a lot of it is based from a comedian's perspective.
Okay.
So it's not written to be funny, but it's written from our perspective and the business of comedy.
Wow. Okay. So why did you choose to publish the book now?
Like I said, COVID-19, and then two, there's a lot of positive messages, which is why it's called Messages in the Madness. There's a lot of messages in the book that would resonate with people along the lines of being of positive outcomes, positive outlooks, picking yourselves up by your bootstraps and moving forward, even when it looks like all is lost. It's not. And then two, my comedy album is called Messages in the Madness, and the reason why I call them both that is because the way I do comedy, I throw positive messages into my comedy. So therefore, people leave more than just to laugh. They leave there with a life lesson that they can take with them, and that's what my book is. Regardless of what you do in life, if you take the word comedian out of it or comedy out of it, and you put whatever your title is into it, it will apply to your life and what you're doing.
Wow. Awesome. So tell me more about some of the stories in your book.
Go
ahead.
I talk about veteran suicide prevention. When I got out the military, I was going to take my life. And if it wouldn't have been for another veteran who came into my life, and unbeknownst to him, he had no idea, but he saved my life. Him and his family saved my life just by merely coming into my life and giving me some additional purpose. I was married at the time, had 2 children, but when I got out the military, it was hard to find a job, even though I was a combat medic. It was hard to find a job, and I felt like less of a man, not able to take care of my family. And I said, you know what? She'd be better off without me. The kids would be better off without me. But that was my PTSD speaking. It wasn't me speaking.
Wow.
And so I speak a lot about I speak about that in there because why? Right now we're seeing firsthand a lot of veterans committing suicide on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's true. Sad.
True. So I talk about mental health. One of the stories in the book is called "How Are You Doing?" And what it's meant to do is for you to stop and think about how am I doing? What am I doing? What am I trying to do? Where am I trying to go? And how am I going to get there?
Wow. Well, Mr. Davis, that's an awful lot that you've experienced over the years. How?
Life has been good to me over the years, so I guess I got a lot to talk about.
Well, keep on talking. Keep telling me.
Well, I love Atlanta. I have to say, I do love Atlanta. I have a son there who's in the entertainment industry. He's a rapper, singer. Matter of fact, he's producing his own videos. name is Versatile. His name is Terry Payne, but he goes by Versatile.
Okay.
And I have two of my beautiful grandchildren there in Atlanta, who Papa needs to get down there and see sometime soon. So my grandkids are a very big part of my life, and so what I'm trying to do is to build a legacy, to leave something for them, whether it's just my book or videos or my writings that they can look back at and go, well, my Papa did this, he did this, he did this. And if he could do that in this time, then maybe we can do something more going forward.
Wow, it sounds like you're really on a roll for your legacy, for your children, your grandkids.
Well, that's the plan. You know, man must leave not just his children, but his grandchildren some type of inheritance. And I know comedians joke all the time. They say, you know, white people leave their kids homes and money and cars. You know, black folks, we leave diabetes and heart disease. Well, I'm trying to leave my grandkids something that they can be proud of. You know, even my grandchildren that are here in St. Louis, they see Papa quite a bit.
Okay.
And with everything that's going on, I think it's important for us to put something positive in front of them.
Wow.
So therefore, they always see Papa working. I'm always working on something. So therefore, it puts them in the mind of I should be creating. I should, you know, because during the pandemic, I've created two Facebook shows, wrote my book, and a couple other things I'm not ready to talk about yet, but I'm always being creative.
Okay. Wow.
Excuse me.
Impressive. So what do you hope your readers would get from reading your book?
I hope that they get three things. I hope they get faith in themselves and understand that, you know, I hope they get understanding within themselves. I hope they understand that they're not the only ones going through what they're going through, that other people have been through what they have been through on a real world basis. Instead of somebody writing a book, like for instance, you're an author, you are a regular person just like me or you, but you took the time to put the words on paper and to allow it to speak to people so that they could see that they're not the only ones in the situation. My other thing is that I hope that it gives them hope, that their situation may be bleak, it may be dire, but at the same time that, you know, there's something more that can come of it. I hope it inspires people to step out and do more with themselves, do more with their lives, and not give up. That's the main thing, is not to give up. And if a old country boy like me from Texas can bear my soul on pages, you know, to help you move forward, if I touch one person, then I've done my job.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you've touched more than one person, because I'm one.
Well, don't be telling people that, because, you know, these days that Me Too, You Too stuff, I don't know nobody trying to get me. So.
Do you have any more books that you plan on writing?
I'm already in the process of writing two. One of them is called Messages in the Madness 2.
Okay.
And what that is about is basically it's going to be some more stories and short stories that I've written over the years that are going to be, it's what is called Messages in the Madness, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow.
So I'm going to get even deeper than what I've got in this book. I'm going to talk about racism on another level. Like here a couple of years ago, I had this particular place. I was visiting this particular place, and they hung a noose in my honor. I'm going to talk about that, and it made me feel, and so on. You know, I'm going to talk about that story. Okay. I'm going to talk about here recently. I was in a place where I was the only brother I was the only brother there. I was performing a show, and out of 500, 600 people that were there, out of nowhere, this group of people started talking about doing harm to me, and how people that were there protected me.
Wow.
So I'm going to talk about those things. I'm going to talk about corporate America. I'm going to talk more about relationships. I'm going to talk more about kids and family. But I'm going to talk about it at a molecular level.
Okay.
Instead of just, you know, a broad view, you know, a broad overstroke. Then the third book is going to be called Let Me Fix That For You. I've already started writing it. And basically it's geared towards, I don't call them white people, I call them pink toes. Because no matter, I'm talking about white people, but no matter how dark they get, one thing happens, their toes stay pink. Oh. So I'm writing a book for the pink toes that says, let me fix that for you. What it is basically describing, helping them to understand various situations that they find themselves in with black people where they think that when they don't really understand what they're seeing. so I want to explain to them, this is not what that is. Let me fix that for you. This is really what you're seeing. The first story is called confidence, not cocky, not arrogant. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, we, especially black men or black women, we're deemed cocky or arrogant. Quite frankly, what it is that we are portraying our confidence in ourselves. But this is what the country has taught us, that this is what we must do, because if we do not show this level of confidence in ourselves, then people don't take us serious.
Okay, so we're going to go to a commercial break right now, and we'll be right back with Bedroom Chronicles. Wow.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here in one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community, and Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call taking my community back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap, because we're gonna get out here and we're gonna shake hands. We're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to with our communities and get involved.
Welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles. My name is Mercury Rising. I'm your host today, and we have on the phone with us Mr. Vernon Davis, and he's talking about his book, Messages in the Madness. So, Mr. Davis, welcome back.
All right, thank you very much. You keep using my government name. I'm glad I don't have any warrants down there in Atlanta.
So, what you want me to call you, Longhorn?
No, Vernon is fine. That's what my mama called me. Longhorn, the comedian, is that guy up on stage,
okay.
And he's had a pretty good career, so I can't complain about that either.
All right. So, Vernon, tell me some more about your book. What's the chapter that touched you the most?
The chapter that touched me the most is and I'm not going to tell you the name of it. I'm going to let you look for it. But where I talk about my mother, and unfortunately, my mom had a heart attack and a stroke. She had 2 heart attacks and 2 strokes, and my baby sister and I had to make the decision to not to resuscitate her.
Oh wow!
And unfortunately, I was not there with her in North Carolina where she was at the time. So I had to make that call over the phone.
Wow.
So I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to, I didn't get a chance to look at her in her face one last time. I didn't get a chance to, to be with her. I had to say goodbye over the phone from a distance.
Wow.
And so the next time I saw my mother, she was in a casket in my hometown of Temple, Texas. So that right there, and honestly, even when I talk about it, it still, it still comes back before me, but I talk about that. I do.
Wow. I could feel that. There's nothing like a mom.
Well, and I tell people every day that if you have your mama, oh boy, you need to celebrate her every day. I don't care how much she get on your nerve. I don't care how much money she borrow from you. I don't care if she take your car and drive it into a strip club and leave it there. Love your mama. Appreciate your mama as much as you can, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Okay.
So I hold my mother, and matter of fact, all black women, all strong. I mean, every white, regardless, single moms, I hold them in the highest esteem, because honestly, so many women raise men, and some some of them do a better job of raising men than some men. And yes, men, I said that.
Okay. So, Vernon, you read Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find, Bedroom Chronicles.
Girl, please. I read your book, and I had to actually buy a second copy.
Wow.
I bought a second copy for my wife. I'm like, you need to read some of this right here. She's like, well, let me get yours. Oh no, you can't get my tablet because you don't know what's happening going on in my tablet. There may be something in there that you may not really need to see.
Okay.
So let me get you like that. You remember that TV commercial? It was the old Love Jams and old boys. Man, I need to borrow that. He's like, no, brother, you got to get your own. I had to get her own.
Wow.
And your book, your book was gravitating.
It was.
I unfortunately, and I'm going to say to you, I'm sorry for the way some of the men in your life treated you. Okay.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because some of what you went through, I went through. You know, the molestation. Yes.
Wow. I'm sorry.
But you know, Mr. Dewey, if I ever see him, if I was able to see him, I'd punch him in the face.
Wow.
So yes, I did read your book. And then you know, going through, you know, you're talking about your uncles and the gentleman who his name escapes me right at the moment. Your book was written from the heart, and that's what I enjoyed about it. It was something that a lot of black women have gone through, but have not spoke of, never will speak of, and it took courage for you to sit down and put your pen to paper to tell this story.
Yes.
I take that back. To tell these stories.
Right.
You know, and then I love the way that you mixed poetry in with, you mixed in poetry along with the stories that you told about the different people. You know, like for instance, trying my best. You know, that was a short story that you wrote there. You know, your poem, A Woman, dazzling with courage, daring in love, eloquent with her emotions, suave with her grace. A woman is the quintessence, a man's yearning for a woman gracious and merciful and giving genuine love. Has he found it? From her deepest core, love that knows no bounds, a woman. That is what I experienced.
So true.
Huh?
I said, that is so true.
Larry was a trip.
Yes, he was. Most definitely. Yeah.
So, like I said, I read, and I was supposed to be reading another book, and my wife said, what are you doing? I'm like, don't worry about it. She said, no, what are you doing? Because you just engrossed it. Because I'm not one of those that will sit down and just read a book for hours on end. I was so engrossed in your book, I had to, like I say, what are you doing? What are you reading? I'm like, here, I'll tell you what. And I went on Amazon and I just bought her one and I sent it to her. I said, I'm not going to tell you nothing about it. I just want you to read this.
All right.
You know, so we get to, you're a country, talk about your life in the country and in the city. Do you realize how many of us spent a lot of time in the city, and then in the summer times, or unfortunately, when things didn't go well for a young lady, they would send her to the country to have her baby, and then she'd come back, and nobody ever knew she was pregnant.
Right. So true.
You know. So I'm sorry. Get me started about your book.
Huh?
I said, don't get me started about your book.
No, please keep on talking, because you definitely read it.
Well, there was one particular book page. There was one particular person I wanted to talk about. I mean, I was going to read just real quickly from it. I love the way that you introduced Joe.
Oh, okay.
You know, today is a beautiful sunny day in the city of Decatur, so I will talk about Joe since he thinks he is a bronze goddess. Okay. I met Joe at the air station, Enlisted Club in Beaufort, South Carolina. I noticed him about a year earlier as he would often visit my workplace for dinner with his beautiful fiancée. He was a very attractive man, 6 foot tall, 6'2" tall, honey golden complexion, and strong, silky, flawless skin. His haircut in a military fade, close on the sides, very becoming, big-ass head and sexy lips. Both larger than the top. His smile was dazzling and bright. I fantasized about touching his lips with mine, his lower lip slightly fuller than the upper, and how he seductively moistened his lips made heat rush to my special spot. I haven't learned how to talk to my pussy, money, but I was aware that she reacted to the outside appearance of men. I should have looked at those moments as warnings not to indulge and stay away. But nope. So what I loved about, no, I'm not in love with Joe. I ain't that kind of cowboy. But what I love the way you introduced the people into the story, where you just told it like you saw it. And you're very descriptive. You have this thing. I noticed you have this thing about men over 6 feet tall. So so I'm not ever gonna have a chance. But because I'm 4'11". So.
No, you're not.
But you did your storytelling, and and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But your thing about men over 6 feet tall, I think it goes back to your uncles. Because as you described them, they were both very tall men.
Well, it even goes back to my dad, because my dad was very tall. Was tall as well. And
exactly.
I used to sit on his foot and ride on his leg. You know how you put your child get on your foot and then you walk and they're riding onto your leg. And it just seemed like when I looked up, it just seemed like he just was so tall. But yeah, so yeah, I like men 6 feet and above.
So your book tells a lot about you, but the way that you describe the people in your life, and the men who you were attracted to and the relationships that you had with them, and then as you matured, so that your taste in men and the situations with men.
Right.
So it's a book that I would definitely recommend that younger women would read, because quite frankly, there's an old saying that say, when you're a woman, when you're a woman and you're a teenager, you don't know what you want.
Right.
In your 20s, you think you want everything. In your 30s, you think you want everything and you try everything. In 30s, you start to slow down. When you get to your 40s, you know what you want.
Right.
In your 50s, you got what you want, and then by the time you hit 60, shit, it don't even matter.
So, I thank you for that review of my book. It's brought back some memories.
That ain't my fault.
I know.
Don't forget Chief Bob. I'm sorry. Do not let Chief Bob slip by, okay?
Chief Bob, huh?
Chief Bob, right. But I'm gonna tell you something that you did that a lot of men are guilty of.
What?
You built you a man. Let me explain that. Because at one point in time, you were sitting in your hotel room at the Marriott. You was in college, and you was trying to stay away from Mr. Bend My Knees. Okay.
Vernon, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, we're going to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Today's world exposes our youth to experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom, Inc., reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome to Burke's Jewelry. How may I help you?
We're looking for engagement rings.
We offer a wide selection. However, I believe we have just what you're looking for. Burke's Jeweler is your family's jeweler at 491 Flat Shoals Avenue Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30316 in East Atlanta Village.
Hi, I'm Michael Cowell, your funniest man on the planet, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network. Stay tuned, because that's how they do it over here. Big time party! All right, see y'all later. Bye. Hi, I'm Michael.
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry, leave me a message.
I
Bye.
just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body.
And I'll send them to you.
We're back. Welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles, and I'm your host, Mercury Risings, and today we have Mr. Vernon Davis joining us. And okay, so Mr. Davis, we were talking about some of the chapters that you read in my book, so you can continue, please.
Well, I love the fact you spend a lot of time around military bases.
Mm-hmm.
So that means, I guess you have a thing for men in uniform.
Oh, yeah.
But I was saying that what I've noticed in your book is that you were trying to distance yourself from Mr. Benjanese after your girlfriend had destroyed their relationship, and then you went and dropped an atomic bomb on her relationship, on her whole world. You didn't just ruin a relationship; you dropped a bomb on her whole world. Jesus, you talking about a woman scorned, girl? Please. Revenge, I know now, never piss you off because revenge is your middle name. So, but you were trying to stay away from Mr. Benjanese, and you were going to school, and you went to the Marriott, and you were sitting there, and you had 3 other people who you could have called instead of Mr. Benjanese.
Uh-huh.
So, what I took from your book was that you did what a lot of men do. You were able to, what I call, build your own man. Mm-hmm. And let me explain what that means.
Okay.
Men will take, for instance, you apparently had some issues with men at an early age, of course, from what I read in your book.
Uh-huh, right.
And men often, what we'll do is we look up to this one particular strong woman, our mother in a lot of cases, and what we try to do is we try to find the woman that, in some cases, that have a lot of the qualities that our mother does. But what sometimes we don't find all those qualities in one woman, so we'll have a woman over here that keeps a good house and cleans good, but she's not very good in bed, but she's cool. And then I got this other woman over here who's great in bed, but she's not very good looking and she don't like to go nowhere. And then I got this other woman over here who's got great credit and all this money, but she talks too much and she get on my nerve. But the sex is off the chain.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is we'll entertain all 3 of those women, like your uncle did. That one day when he was a kid, he had 3 women in the house.
Right. At the same time.
Yes, I read your book.
Yes, you
We will entertain all 3 or 4 or 5 of these women because we're looking for various qualities in there, or they have various qualities that we would like to have in one woman. So I call that build a woman. Oh. And so therefore I know they call it player, but at this point in our life, too old to be players. I tell people I'm too old to be a player. Just call me coach. But at one point in your life, you were building you a man. that as you matured through the book, and as you talked through the book, you knew what you were looking for. You wanted one man that you could call your own.
So true. So very true.
You know, and don't get me wrong, I don't know what your status is now, but I'll say this to any and every woman that's listening. If that is what your heart truly desires, there is a man out there for you. But the problem is, well, I won't say the problem, the challenge is every brother ain't a six-figure brother. And if you look at a man for what he has, what you want him to have in his hand versus what he actually has in his hand, then chances are you're going to be looking a long time for what you want. And you might get to the point where a lot of women just give up and, you know what, I'll take what comes, or I won't take nothing at all. But if you are patient and hold true to who you are and what you believe and what it is that you truly want, and whatever your higher power is, the man that you're looking for will come into your life, but you got to give him a chance. He may not be the doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. He might be the trash man. He might be the used car salesman that sells you your car. He might be your insurance agent that's been trying to holler at you for the last 2, 3, 15 years.
Right.
But sometimes we got to step out of our mold. Step out of our comfort zone of what we like and explore something new. And that's both men and women.
Right, that's true.
And I'm speaking from experience.
Okay. Because, you know, when you...
lady who...
No, I was saying when you get to the end of the book, the last 3 relationships at the end of the book, those were basically men that felt that they didn't have enough to offer me, which I wasn't asking. So, as my finances is not right, I want to get my bank account straight, I need to do this, I need to do that, but I did not ask you anything about your finances or what your future aspirations are for your finances. I was just looking forward to some genuine love, and that was it.
Well, who you were talking to there were real men who wanted to make sure that they were equally yoked.
Yeah, true. I'm sure that's true.
Because somebody raised them right. Okay. I have actually had the same conversation.
Really? Wow.
And I was told, come on. Come like you are. Come as you are. Yeah. Because she saw the potential in me.
Wow.
And it took me a minute to get past that. It took me a minute to go, okay, fine, let's make it happen. Because I knew what I wanted to bring to the table. But sometimes you got to let go, and I'm a man of faith. Oh, I'm also an ordained minister.
Okay, wow.
Sometimes you got, I'm not saying I'm in the pulpit preaching. That will never happen. Okay? No, that will not happen. But sometimes you got to let go and let God. Sometimes you got to take that faith, that mustard seed, and bury it in a pot of hope. And then pour love on it like water.
Wow.
And watch whatever it is that you have faith in, which is your seed, watch it grow.
But as a man, you know how hard it is for a woman to let go, especially when it's someone that they're still in love with?
Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. More than some may even realize. Yes, I do know how hard it is to let go.
Yep.
I do. But at the same time, what we have to realize is that love is like flowers. Your love is your love, and then the people that you love are your flowers. And you love all these flowers, but you love these flowers differently. Does that make sense?
Wow.
You know, you love the sunflower in its season, for its reason and its season. But then you have that one flower that you love all the time, forever, for always.
True.
And that's the flower that you hold near and dear to you, because the reality of it is is that's the flower that's always in bloom for you.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I like how you said that. So,
But that's real.
Since on the part of the book that you already read, what advice would you offer?
Ooh. If you haven't, am I giving advice to people who haven't read the book yet?
Yeah, because you read it, so based on your perception of what you read.
The advice I give, especially women, if you haven't read the book, when you do read the book, get naked. Because you're going to get tired of changing clothes because you're sweating and other things. Okay? Yeah, you might as well just get naked, get you a bottle of wine, and I'm not saying take care of some business, but it's going to make you sweat.
Wow.
Because the detail that you go into, into the things that took place in these various relationships.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a brother, and I had to fan myself a couple times. I'm like, oh Jesus, no, she didn't, but yes, she did. And now let me ask you something: is this your first time writing the book?
Well, yeah, because the first book that I wrote was just a book of poetry. So but this is the first novel book I've written. But I've also started on the second one. So I have the first and the second chapter pretty much laid out how that's going to flow, because I took the last character out of Men in My Bed, and that's the first chapter. And then the second chapter is something brand new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, your book, I've read some graphic novels in my day.
Right.
Okay. I won't say. And the reason why I can speak about it, because I'm a guy. I don't watch porn.
Okay.
I don't watch porn. I don't read. I've never bought a pornographic movie. I've never watched porn. Porn is just not my thing.
Right.
Okay, but to read erotica is a whole other thing, which is what you write, because what you wrote, but it's true life erotica, but it allows the reader to put themselves in your shoes. So it allows them to imagine themselves in the same situation, because your book is not written on a level of fiction. It's written from your real life, things that truly do happen, and a lot stuff that you wrote about that happened around the military base. Yeah, that happened. I'm not going to admit to nothing because I don't know who listens to the show, but that happens, and that happens, and that happens. I'm going to tell your readers, if you are the people who are thinking about reading your book, get the book, sit down. When you tired of looking at the boob tube, watching TV, and just immerse yourself in that book for a couple hours, you may look up and it may be daytime by the time you put it down.
Wow. Yeah, every now and then I'll open it and read a few pages, but it just makes me laugh because it takes me back to that actual memory. So I don't really find too much sadness in it, because in the first 30-something pages, I've forgiven those people long time ago. I confronted them and forgave them. But
I'm glad you said that, because that was what I was hoping for. That at some point in time, that you had to just, you had to forgive them. I won't say they knew not what they did, because they knew what they did. But to find it in yourself to forgive somebody for those transgressions, that right there gives you back your power as a person, not just as a woman, but as a person.
Yes, it did. So I'm okay with it. The relationships, it took me a while to get through some, and it definitely took me a while to get through Jimmy, but you haven't gotten to Jimmy yet, but you will. So you can email me, message me, call me if you want to give me some pointers from the last 3 relationships in the book when you finish. You and your wife you can talk to me about it.
You did say Jenny, right?
Jimmy,
okay.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Okay. I will look forward to reading about Jimmy, but in the meantime, from what I've read of your book and And like I said, I'm not gonna play like they do on TV and act like they read your whole book. No, they did. They don't. No, no, they did. But I'm going to read all of your book. Why? Because honestly, I appreciate the perspective that it was written from, and I appreciate what you were trying to share with people. You were just trying to share reality and letting other women know that they're not by themselves and going through what they have gone through with different men in their lives.
No, they're not alone. Not at all. And definitely I wanted to bring about that awareness for single parents when it comes to your children, and grandparents to be more noticeable and things along that line. So we're going to a commercial, and we'll be right back. But yeah, because a lot of...
Are you an artist, a writer of spoken word? Do you have content ready but need exposure? Get to know me. I'm Alicia, host of a new Facebook live stream show called The Flavor, where we promote local and international talent of all genres. Here are some rules and regulations to the videos that we'll be accepting. They must be radio ready, no cursing, no lewd language. You must send us contact information as well as a YouTube link to your video so we can extract it from there. Email us at 1061tv@gmail.com, and we thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Harry Lennox, and you're watching TV 1061, your global network.
And we're back, and welcome back to Bedroom Chronicles. Mercury Rises here, and we have Mr. Vernon Davis on the phone, and we are discussing chapters in this marvelous book. Mr. Davis, give me your last take.
Whatever. Now that you finally told me your relationship status, I'm going to tell you. The man that comes, I'll play this. Do not let the men that you decide to date read your book.
Okay.
Because before you start dating them. Because they're going to be like, you know what? No, I ain't got that. My back ain't that strong. I can't do all this right here. And if she expects me to do any of this, but then again, at the same time, they may read it and be like, oh, this is what she like. Not a lot of men get a roadmap. You know, so this is kind of so if you look at it from a positive, it is a roadmap for a guy. And honestly, men that are listening, you could probably take this book and learn a thing or two and maybe take it home and translate it, to your relationships and you may end up with a new set of tires on your truck.
Right.
But at the same time, though, you are definitely going to... If a man reads your book, if he reads your book before he decides to step to you, he's going to be like, okay. He's going to have to work out and take some vitamins and maybe participate in some yoga, go climb Mount Everest, and then come sit down at your feet. Because honestly, some of the things that the men have done in this book, I've read, and I'm like, you know what, I don't think I've ever did that. So... It's an eye-opening experience.
Good.
And quite frankly, I hope that your readers will read it and share it. And instead of, sharing it by, girl, here, I read this book, let me give it to you. No. Tell them like they used to tell us back in the day, when you hear an album that we like. No, my brother, you got to go buy your own.
That's it. Buy your own.
Support the author because, quite frankly, true enough, wisdom is to be shared, knowledge is to be shared, but we need to support each other economically, and by other people buying your book, excuse me, I got hiccups, other people buying your book, that is supporting you and enabling you to be able to produce more.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, Mr. Davis, Vernon, thank you very much for coming on the show today. And maybe I'll have you back again after you finish reading all of it.
Maybe the next time we can bring it on and y'all can I actually have a face for radio.
Okay.
But I think some people may be able to tolerate it, so.
All right. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Blessed and much success to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much. Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So today we were talking about a couple of chapters that's in my book, Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find, Bedroom Chronicles. And I really appreciate Mr. Vernon for coming on the show today. As he stated, he is a comedian, veteran, and numerous other things under his hat. But anyway, please take a peek at Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find. It's a very interesting book. It does have a lot of instructions in it, as Mr. Davis stated. It could be a nice little toy for couples if you want to share the story in the bedroom. Just try it one night. It is very intriguing. It's moving. It'll make you sweat. You saw me sitting here sweating and I wasn't even reading it, but I have the memories. So, Men in My Bed, Bedroom Chronicles, you can get it on Amazon or any place that you can order a book, but Amazon is the main one. You can call into the show. It's on every Thursday from 6 to 7. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I would take phone calls and I would respond to your messages if you have any. If anyone else want to call in, we have 5 minutes. So, Men in My Bed, Bedroom Chronicles, True Love is Hard to Find. And one other thing, I asked one of the characters in the book to be on the show. He will probably be on it next week. I haven't got a definite answer back yet, but I'm hoping that he decides to. And I'm hoping also that once he reads it, that he's not going to get upset about what I said about him. But I did warn him before I publish it that he was going to definitely be the last chapter. But now the last chapter, I was upset with him because it was during the time that we had broken up. So I said, look, I hope you, during that day, I said, I hope you know that you're the last chapter. And he's like, oh, shit. And then he got back on good terms with me, so then I cleaned it up a little bit, just a little bit. But it's enough there for him to still not talk to me for about a year. But I hope he doesn't decide to do that until maybe the Friday after next week's show. So, Bedroom Chronicles, Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find. You may find yourself in this book. And, let's see what else. The poems that are in the book are basically, I put those in there after each chapter because I felt whatever the poem that I wrote fit that chapter. Like, Find Myself, that was after one chapter that I wrote, probably about after a breakup I had with somebody. And I think the only character in the book that may not be upset with me is Doc, because I didn't say too much bad about him. I kind of uplift him a lot. The ex-husband, he will be the maddest one because I said a lot about him that I didn't clean up too much. So, and I really don't think that any of them should be that upset because it's my life and it's my story. And I don't really need their permission to write these words that I've taken my time to put on this paper. So please find the time to go to Amazon and purchase Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find. Bedroom Chronicles is $19.99, $21 with tax. You can get it in 3 to 5 days. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me on Facebook. That's where the ones that I answer the quickest will be Facebook. So that's going to be basically all I have to say today about Men in My Bed, True Love is Hard to Find. No, I'll take that back. It's the stories that start off in the beginning of the book. it took me some time to get through those. And those are just basically ones that deal with incest and molestation and rape. So it may be a little hard for the reader to get through the first 35 pages. But just put it down, take a little break, and come back to it, because when you get to page 130 or approximately 130, then that's when you have to turn your fan up a little bit. So it takes you basically on an emotional roller coaster ride. But it's, so you're gonna feel like you wanna cry, you're gonna get upset and angry, then you're gonna be happy, and you're gonna be warm in certain spots, and then yeah, you might want to get that glass of wine or cold beer and just sit back and chill, like Mr. Davis said, naked. So Bedroom Chronicles, True Love is Hard to Find, Men in My Bed, available on Amazon. Oh, wow, 2 more minutes. It's raining so hard outside. I am really looking forward to my next relationship. And where I'm at in my life right now, I think the next one is going to be the perfect one. And you might say, how can she say that with what happened in the beginning and the last 3 failing relationships? I guess you have to say it's faith, because I do believe in love. So I'm just going to sit here with that for the next few seconds, and you can think about it too. So you have the incest, rape, molestation, then you have the bad relationships, but how can she sit there and just say she's looking forward to her next relationship and that's going to be the one? Faith. Felix. Oh. Okay, so see you next week. Bedroom Chronicles, 6 to 7 p.m.
Hey, I'm not in right now. Sorry. Leave me a message.
I
Bye.
just wanna love you. Meet me at the hotel room, or you can come over. So many things I wanna do to your body, driving me crazy. I just wanna love